So, let me ask you something. Are you the kind of person who researches every big purchase, who actually tries to balance their budget, but you still feel like you're just not getting ahead? You think you're making logical, rational choices with your money. But what if I told you that a bunch of hidden mental shortcuts are quietly messing up your finances? These aren't just bad habits. They're called cognitive biases, and they're like little glitches in our brain's software that make us act irrationally, often without us even noticing. It was Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman who showed the world that our brains are constantly using these shortcuts, and they totally warp how we see risk and reward. And today, we're going to drag the 5 worst offenders into the light. By the end of this video, you won't just know what these biases are, you'll have the exact tools to start making smarter financial decisions today. First up is a really sneaky one, because it actually feels like you're being smart and doing your homework. It's called confirmation bias. This is our tendency to look for, interpret, and remember information in a way that just confirms what we already believe. You make up your mind first, and then you go searching for evidence that you were right all along, while conveniently ignoring anything that suggests you might be wrong. Let's get real. Have you ever caught yourself thinking renting is just throwing money away? If you have, confirmation bias is that little voice that pushes you to only watch videos and read articles that praise homeownership. You'll soak up every story about rising home values and building equity, but you'll subconsciously scroll right past the articles talking about the brutal costs of maintenance, property taxes, insurance, and the money you're losing by having all your cash tied up in one place. You look for proof you're right, and because of that, you might jump into buying a house you can't really afford, leaving you house poor and totally stressed out. Or how about this? You get a hot tip on some new crypto coin. You're convinced it's the next big thing. Confirmation bias sends you on a mission to prove you're a genius. You'll find that one analyst who agrees with you, that one Reddit thread buzzing with hype. You'll totally ignore the company's weak financials or the dozen experts screaming, "Be careful." You're not looking for the truth, you're looking for validation. The cost to your wealth here is huge. It locks you into bad habits, stops you from cutting your losses on terrible investments, and blinds you to way better opportunities. It keeps you in your own little echo chamber where you feel like a genius while making some pretty dumb financial moves. So, how do you fight it? You have to intentionally create some friction. Make a new rule for yourself. For any financial decision over, say, $500, you have to actively find and write down one solid reason why you might be wrong. Go find an expert who disagrees with you and actually try to understand their argument. Even better, find a devil's advocate, a friend who you can trust to poke holes in your plan before you spend your hard-earned money. While confirmation bias makes you cling to what you already believe, our next bias plays on a more primal fear, the fear of missing out. It's called scarcity bias. Our brains are just wired to want things more if we think they're rare or about to disappear. When something seems limited, our rational brain just checks out, and a panicky sense of urgency takes over. And marketers are absolute masters at using this against you. Think about the last time you were shopping online. Seen any of these? Limited time offer. Only 2 left. Sale ends tonight. That's not just info, it's a psychological bomb designed to make you panic. It shortcuts your whole decision-making process. You stop asking, "Do I actually need this?" and start thinking, "I gotta get it now or I'll lose my chance forever." And it's not just for little impulse buys. This applies to the big stuff too. Those limited-time credit card sign-up bonuses can trick you into getting a card with a high annual fee that has nothing to do with how you actually spend. Real estate agents love to say, "We have multiple offers on the table," to start a bidding war and pressure you into overpaying. Scarcity bias is a slow, steady drain on your bank account. It's death by 1,000 cuts, where every Urgent purchase pulls money away from what you really want, like investing or saving for a down payment. All that creative marketing is often just designed to create a false sense of scarcity, and it can wreck your financial health. The counter-move is simple but so effective. Force yourself to take a time out. For any non-essential purchase over a small amount, like $50, give yourself a mandatory 24-hour rule. If you still want it 24 hours later, after that fake urgency has worn off, then okay, you can think about buying it. For bigger decisions, make it a 7-day rule. This gives your rational brain the time it needs to wake up and start asking the right questions again. Think of it as your shield against manipulative marketing. So, while scarcity bias pressures you with fake deadlines, our next bias is much more subtle. It messes with your sense of value by latching on to the very first number you see. It's called anchoring. This is our tendency to latch on to the very first piece of information we get, the anchor, when we're making a decision. Once that anchor is dropped, every other judgment is skewed by it, even if that first number was completely ridiculous. Retail stores are the classic example. You see a jacket with a price tag. Was $200? Now $125. They want you to anchor on that $200 price. All of a sudden, $125 feels like an amazing deal. You're not even thinking about whether the jacket is worth $125 of your money. You're just focused on the $75 you saved from a price that was probably made up in the first place. But this goes way deeper. It kills people in salary negotiations. A company might make a lowball initial offer. Even if it's way below what you should be making, that number is now the anchor for the whole conversation. Now, just getting them to move up a little bit feels like a win when you're still getting seriously underpaid. You anchored to their number, not yours. It happens with your monthly bills, too. You get anchored to what you paid for your phone last month. As long as the bill doesn't jump too much, you just pay it. You're not comparing it to the best price you could be getting on the market right now. You're just comparing it to the old anchor. You can see how this costs you, right? You're constantly overpaying for stuff. You're under-negotiating your single biggest wealth-building tool, your income. Anchoring basically guarantees you're always playing on a field designed by someone else, and it's almost always tilted in their favor. The way to beat this is to set your own anchor before they can. Before you go shopping, decide what that item is actually worth to you. Before you negotiate a salary, do your homework. Find out what the market rate is, and come in with your own ambitious, well-researched number. You go first. And for your regular bills, break the anchor once a year. Force yourself to get 3 new quotes for your insurance, phone, and internet. This shatters the old anchor and replaces it with real, current info, saving you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Beating anchoring is about setting your own value. But what happens when your emotions completely take over the decision? That brings us to what might be the most powerful emotional force in all of finance. It's called loss aversion. Thanks to the work of Kahneman and Tversky, we know that the pain of a loss is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of an equal gain. In other words, the sting you feel from losing $100 is way more intense than the joy you'd feel from finding $100. This creates a powerful, almost unbreakable drive inside us to avoid losses at any cost. This bias is the reason you hold onto a failing stock way past its expiration date. You see that you're down on paper, and selling would mean making that loss real, which feels terrible. So you just hang on, hoping it'll bounce back, even as it sinks lower and lower. This is basically the sunk cost fallacy, loss aversion's annoying cousin. Loss aversion is why you keep paying for subscriptions you haven't used in months. The idea of canceling and losing access to that workout app feels more painful than the small, steady drip of the monthly fee. So you do nothing, and your wealth just bleeds out month after month. It's also why we have a hard time selling stuff we don't use anymore. You know that exercise bike gathering dust in the corner? You paid $500 for it. The idea of selling it on Marketplace for $100 just feels like you're locking in a $400 loss. So you let it sit there, taking up space and giving you zero value. The cost is a portfolio full of losers, a budget choked with zombie subscriptions, and a house full of junk. You're so focused on avoiding small losses that you miss out on making big, life-changing gains. To fight this, you have to reframe the whole decision. Instead of asking, "What will I lose if I cancel this subscription?" ask, "What am I actively losing every month by not canceling?" That's $15 a month, or $180 a year that is leaving your bank account. Frame the cancellation not as a loss, but as giving yourself an immediate $180 annual raise. For investments, ask yourself, if I had this money in cash today, would I buy this stock at its current price? If the answer is no, it's time to sell and move on. You have to celebrate these moves as smart wins for your future self. Loss aversion is driven by a deep-seated feeling of pain. Our final bias is driven by something else entirely, the power of a good story. It's called the availability bias. This is our tendency to think that things are more common or important if they're recent, dramatic, and easy for us to remember. Our brains are lazy. They'd rather use a crazy anecdote or a scary headline to make a decision than dig through a bunch of boring old data. You see this everywhere in finance. Your coworker tells you a horror story about how they lost a ton of money in the stock market. That story is now vivid and available in your brain. So you might avoid stocks for years, even though, statistically, they're one of the best ways to build long-term wealth. You're letting one person's dramatic story outweigh decades of proof. Social media has thrown this bias into overdrive. You see a TikTok video about how budgeting is for losers. That message is catchy and easy to remember. It might convince you to ditch your financial plan, even if a simple budget is the one thing you need to get your money right. You'll remember the flashy story long after you've forgotten the boring but correct advice. The news does the same thing. A huge headline about a market crash makes you feel like crashes are happening all the time, which can cause you to be way too cautious with your money. You're reacting to the latest drama instead of sticking to a plan based on decades of history. The price you pay for this bias is a portfolio built on fear and fads instead of facts. You end up chasing hot stocks you just heard about and panic selling during downturns because of scary headlines. You avoid the sound, boring decisions because the dramatic but statistically rare stories are the ones that stick in your head. The fix here is to trust the data, not the drama. Default to the long-term averages, not the anecdotes. Instead of asking, "Did I hear any scary stories about this?" ask, "What's the average return for this type of investment over the last 30 years?" Instead of following some viral money hack, just track your own spending for 2 months. Your own personal data is the best information you can have. It lets you build a plan based on your reality, not on someone else's flashy and often misleading story. Okay, now that we've walked through these 5 biases, I want you to be really honest with yourself. Which one of these hit a little too close to home? Was it the way you only look for info that proves you're right? Or maybe the way you hang on to stuff just to avoid that feeling of loss? Drop a comment below and let me know which bias you see in your own life. And more importantly, tell us the one small rule you're going to try this week to start fighting back. Just sharing your plan is a huge first step. Look, the goal here isn't to become a perfectly rational robot. That's impossible. We're all human, and our brains come with these glitches pre-installed. The key isn't to get rid of them, but to know they exist, and to build systems that protect you from them. You don't need a perfect brain. You just need to create some smart rules that slow down your bad decisions and automate the good ones. Your financial success doesn't depend on being a genius. It depends on protecting yourself from the invisible scripts running in your own head. So here's your one practical step for today. Pick the one bias from this video that really got to you and put one safeguard in place right now. If it's loss aversion, go cancel one subscription you don't use and set up an automatic transfer for that same amount into your savings account. If it's anchoring, go get one new quote for your car insurance this week. Remember, your financial future isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. And now you're one step closer